Hi friends, I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to another Collage with Me video. We're back to using paper as our collage material. Today we'll be creating a vertical stripe collage in the 7" by 9.5" art journal. I'll explain more about the concept of this collage while we're going over the supplies. So let's jump right into it. Here's the ephemera we'll be using. I pulled these 3 black and white images from magazines to use as the focal point. Instead of using the full image, I'll be cutting these images into strips. I'm thinking about 1 inch in width. Then using some of the pieces to create the new image, which will be the focal point. I also pulled the security envelopes that have green and blue patterns on the inside to use as accent colors. For neutral colors, I brought out book pages. The text pages have a darker aged look. And then the end pages are lighter in shade. Also, our supplies include scissors, glue stick, pencil, and that's it. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is cut down the collage papers into approximately 1 inch strips so it's easier to handle. Once we start collaging, I will cut down some of the papers to thinner widths to make the collage more interesting. I'm going to cut the papers off camera. I'll be right back. Now that we have the collage papers in a manageable size, let's decide on the focal point area. I'm leaning towards having the focal point off center and to the right, kind of around this area. I'm planning on gluing down the focal point as the last step. So let's loosely mark this area as a guide. This mark will help when creating the collage around the focal point. So let me move these slightly. So I'm thinking probably around this area. Something like that. Also, I'm not going to mark any guidelines for the stripes. I want the look of the collage to have a somewhat organic look, not uniform or perfect stripes. So that's why I didn't use a ruler to cut the strips of ephemera. Let's start creating the collage. Just a heads up, this section will have a mix of narration and music. So let's get going. Since our focal point is black and white, I'm thinking that most of the surrounding papers should be the book pages. There'll be a good contrast between the black and white focal point and the light and dark neutral colors of the book pages. I mentioned earlier that the green and blue ephemera will be the accent colors. I think we should keep that idea and cut the green and blue ephemera into thinner strips. Let's decide on the layout of the book pages first while keeping in mind the placement of the green and blue papers. I like the way the book pages look at this point, so I'm going to glue them down and then start working on adding the blue and green papers. I like the placement of the blue and green papers. I like the various lengths and widths. It adds movement to the collage. Some of the pieces that are near where the focal point is going to be placed will be partially or fully covered up after we glue in the focal point, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to glue down the blue and green papers, then we'll work on the focal point. The blue and green pieces are glued down. I came back in and trimmed up the edges since we're nearing the finish of the collage. It helps me to visualize how the final collage will look while working on the focal point. So that's the next step we'll be doing, is taking these pieces and putting them in the placement of the focal point. I placed this piece behind the one next to it to see if a thinner piece would look good against a wider piece, and it does. So instead of keeping all the black and white pieces roughly the same size, I'm going to add thinner pieces as well. I feel that this change will make the focal point as well as the whole collage look more interesting. Let's stop at this point and glue down the pieces of the focal point. There is enough variation of the lengths and the widths to make the focal point appealing to look at. We'll take another look after all the pieces are glued down to see if we need to add anything. You probably noticed that I changed a few things. This original piece was in this area right here, and I thought it looked a bit too plain. So I used this piece instead, which has more contrast between dark and light within this piece. And with that contrast, I think it adds interest to the whole focal point. Also, these two pieces, I changed the orientation. I just kind of flipped them. And I think it's more pleasing to the eye, especially where this piece, which has this darker section, is up against this lighter area. It's very subtle, but it adds some nice contrast. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean up everything and we'll have one final review. Let's do a quick review of this finished collage. First off, I like how the blue and the green papers are used as accents instead of being larger pieces that could take away from the focal point. I like the high contrast between the focal point, which is black and white, and then the lighter book pages. The focal point really stands out. I like that there's variation of lengths and width within all the papers in the collage. It definitely adds interest and movement to the collage. So all in all, I'm happy with the way it turned out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye now.